We gotta. It's just, but you gotta. I mean, we gotta reassure. Look, here, my message to everybody I talk to.
So what you just saw there was Joe Biden and his wife Jill Biden earlier today on MSNBC, Morning Joe Scarborough show. And it was yet another example in a line of so many of Biden's cognitive decline, his dementia, whatever you want to call it. And I bring this up again, not because I want Donald Trump to win, not because I'm trying to make fun and have laughs at Joe Biden's expense, but rather because I'm very concerned for the man. I feel sad that he has to go through this, that he's being put through this on a near daily basis. And I have real worries that this is not the man, this is not the person in this frame of mind that can do the job of defeating Donald Trump and effectively governing America from a progressive direction. Beyond his ideology, I just don't know if he has the wherewithal right now to carry the task forward to completion. And I, as a Bernie Sanders supporter, as someone who's on the left, in no way wants to see Donald Trump win, and I am very concerned at the Democratic Party's insistence that anybody but Bernie Sanders be the nominee, which led them to Joe Biden, who was the only one standing that could oppose Bernie Sanders, has set them up to lose the election. Because I don't really care what the polls say. Right now, they look rather decent. But every time we see Joe Biden, we see more and more of these gaping flaws. These flaws that are going to make people question whether it's fair or not if Joe Biden can do the job of running for president and serving as president. And a lot of people are going to be asking themselves that question and answering in the negative, saying no. And I think that as we get closer and closer to the election, when more and more people are paying attention, because a lot of voters right now haven't really tuned into the November election yet, there's going to be more and more on the fence people who are not given confidence when they hear Joe Biden, when they see Joe Biden. And I am very, very worried for the effect that could have on the Democrats' ability to defeat Donald Trump. Because again, I do not want to see Donald Trump remain president, and I do not want to see the harm that he will do with another 4 years in power. And yet again here, you see the added issue of Dr. Jill Biden being included. And on its own, I don't have an issue with Jill Biden being in some of these interviews. Again, the First Lady plays an immense role in any administration. And so I think it's good that the American people can learn about the First Lady, hear from her, know about her viewpoints, know about her expertise. I think that's good. But the way it comes off in these interviews with Joe Biden is that his wife is there as a crutch, as a handler, rather than as somebody that's supporting him and adding some input. We saw that in a previous interview where Joe Biden didn't speak for 2.5 minutes because Jill Biden spoke all the time. And we saw that in one of Biden's first live stream events where he basically stood at the camera after the event was done, staring blankly into the camera until Jill had to come and get him and basically drag him off the side of the screen. And it all shows to me a feeling that without her there, he would be even more lost. Without his wife there to help absorb some of the questions, absorb some of the pressure, he might not be able to handle the work day in, day out on a grueling campaign schedule. And again, whether that's accurate or not, I think that's a perception a lot of people will have. And so all of this is pointing me to a reality that the Democratic Party, in their zeal of defeating Bernie Sanders, has sort of backed themselves into a corner where the presumptive nominee isn't really up to the task, but they're going to roll the dice anyway because it's better than having a candidate who's sharp, who's passionate, who works a grueling schedule, but just so happens to believe that the rich people should pay more taxes and that Medicare for all is a human right. And the Democratic Party doesn't want the latter, so they've rejected the former. I don't know what the direct solution is. Biden right now is the presumptive nominee. Unless there's some big change, he's going into the election as the candidate for the Democrats. And none of this is to say that Trump's a better guy. Trump over the past few years has demonstrated his own examples of dementia and cognitive decline. He definitely has. And in addition to that, his viewpoints are worse than Joe Biden. But as always, Republican voters or voters that are considering the Republican Party are generally much more likely to overlook things and vote for their team, whereas Democratic voters need to see something more. And whether it's Biden being weak or whether it's Biden not having good policies that speak to marginalized people, to poor people, to young people, I worry about his ability to enthusiastically drive turnout. And all of this is organically together, whether it's his policies, whether it's his dementia or cognitive decline. I think it all adds up to a pretty troubling picture. The Democratic Party has to figure something out. I really do worry that this man won't be able to win this election unless something big changes. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe I'm being too pessimistic. But I do feel there's a long time from now until the election, and that if we keep seeing Joe Biden like this day in, day out, sometimes multiple times per day, it's going to catch up to him, and it's going to catch up to the Democrats in polling, not just at the presidential level, but down ballot as well.